The message hit my phone at 3:51 p.m. on a Monday. No name. No explanation. Just 7 words that made my stomach drop. Your wife is at the Hilton, room 147. I was sitting in the middle of a client meeting when I read it. I kept my face straight, but inside, everything went ice cold. My blood felt like it stopped moving. The Hilton downtown was only 15 minutes from my office, and about 35 minutes from our house, where my wife claimed she'd be working from home all day. That's what she told me. My hands started trembling so hard I could barely type. I replied right away. Who is this? A few seconds passed. Then I saw the 3 little dots. Someone was typing. Finally, the response came through. Someone who thought you should know. Now, I could have reacted like a guy in a movie. I could have jumped in my car, raced downtown, stormed up to room 147, and kicked the door in like some action hero. But I didn't. Instead, I did something much calmer and way more calculated. I picked up my phone and called the best florist in Columbus. Then I ordered a dozen red roses. The woman on the line asked, "What would you like the card to say?" I smiled a little, but there was no real emotion behind it. No warmth. No happiness. Just purpose. I spoke slowly so she wrote every word exactly right. To my darling wife. Then I continued. Congratulations on your promotion. I'm so proud of you. Love, Ethan. There was a long pause on the phone. Then the florist said, "Sir, you said this is for your wife?" I answered like it was the most normal thing in the world. That's right. Room 147 at the downtown Hilton. Then I added the most important part. Deliver it in exactly 1 hour. Another pause. And the name is Ethan, she asked, like she was trying to make sure she heard me correctly. Yes, I said. Ethan Chen. Her boss. This time, the silence felt heavier. Finally, she cleared her throat and said, Okay, sir. We'll have it delivered. I hung up and looked at my watch. 1 hour. That's all it would take for those flowers to arrive. 1 hour until my wife opened a card signed with the name of her lover. And 1 hour until Ethan Chen, her married boss, the man who thought he was untouchable, got the kind of phone call that destroys a person's career. If you want to know what happened when those flowers showed up, hit subscribe, because what happened next made her affair look like the smallest part of her problems. My name is Derek Matthews. I'm 39 years old, and I work as a data analyst for a healthcare company in Columbus, Ohio. Yeah, I know, it's not exactly the kind of job that sounds thrilling. Most days, I'm buried in spreadsheets. I run database queries. I track trends. I hunt for patterns. I stare at numbers so long my eyes go blurry. To most people, it sounds painfully boring. But the truth is, being a data analyst changes how your brain works. You start seeing patterns everywhere, not just in numbers, but in behavior. In habits. In stories people tell. And especially in lies. And for the past 3 months, I'd been noticing patterns in my wife's behavior that didn't make sense. My wife's name is Vanessa. We've been married for 7 years. She's a marketing director at a mid-sized pharmaceutical company, smart, driven, and honestly, stunning. The kind of woman people notice when she walks into a room. When we met, I was just a junior analyst making $50,000 a year. She was a marketing coordinator earning around the same. We built our life from the ground up. No shortcuts. No family money. Just slow, steady progress. We paid off student loans. We saved for a down payment. And eventually, we bought a modest house in Clintonville. We weren't rich, but we were stable. Solid. The kind of couple that people look at and think, they've got it figured out. Then, 2 years ago, everything shifted. Vanessa got promoted to marketing director, $240,000 a year, a company car, and an expense account. Suddenly, her life became bigger and faster. More travel. More late nights. More conferences. More client dinners. And honestly? At first, I was proud. I really was. I stepped up around the house. I took on extra chores. I didn't complain when she missed dinner or walked in the door at midnight. Because when you love someone, you support them. That's what I believed. But then, about 3 months ago, the pattern changed again, only this time, it wasn't about career growth. It started with little things. She bought a new perfume, one I'd never smelled on her before. She had expensive stuff in her bag I didn't recognize. Then she started going to the gym at weird hours, 6 a.m. before work, or 9 p.m. after dinner. And her phone was the biggest giveaway. It used to sit on the kitchen counter while she cooked. Sometimes she'd forget it upstairs. Sometimes she'd leave it in her purse. Now, it was always on her. Always in her pocket. Always face down like it was hiding something. Then she bought new lingerie. I didn't find the lingerie. I found the receipt, tucked inside her purse when I was looking for her insurance card. Victoria's Secret. $620. And here's the thing. I'd never seen her wear any of it. Then came the work trips. Chicago for a conference, 2 nights. Atlanta for a client meeting, 3 nights. Indianapolis for a strategy session. 1 night. And that's when my brain snapped into analyst mode. Because I'm a data analyst. I don't just feel things. I analyze them. So I started tracking. First, I pulled up her credit card activity. We shared a joint card for household expenses, but she'd opened a separate card for work stuff. That card told a story she couldn't explain away. There were hotel charges that didn't line up with her travel calendar. Restaurant bills clearly meant for 2, at places she told me she ate alone. Uber rides that dropped her off at addresses I didn't recognize. So I did what I always do when something doesn't add up. I built a spreadsheet. Dates. Locations. Expenses. Her explanations. And once I laid it all out in rows and columns, the truth got loud. The patterns were undeniable. My wife was cheating on me. But I didn't confront her. Not yet. Because in 7 years of marriage, I'd learned a hard truth. When you corner someone, they don't suddenly become honest. They deny. They twist things. They deflect. They try to make you feel crazy for even asking. And I wasn't about to let her rewrite reality right in front of my face. I needed proof. Not I think so proof. Real proof. The kind of proof that shuts down every lie before it even starts. So I did what any data analyst would do. I gathered more data. And yeah, I crossed a line. I installed a GPS tracker on her car. One of those little magnetic ones you can buy on Amazon for about $40. I'm not proud of it. It didn't feel good. It felt invasive. But I needed to know what was real. And that tracker, it showed me everything. It showed her making multiple visits to the downtown Hilton. Always weekday afternoons. Then it showed something else too, a condo in the short north. 3 visits in 2 weeks. And in that moment, I realized this wasn't some random flirty coworker situation. This was a full-blown double life. It was a restaurant in Grandview, the exact same place she told me she was having a solo work lunch. The GPS showed her there for 2 full hours, with her car sitting in the back lot the whole time. After that, I ran the condo address through public records. That condo belonged to Ethan Chen. Her boss. Ethan was 44, married, 2 kids, and he'd been with the company for 14 years. On paper, he looked like the perfect success story. He was the VP of marketing, and more importantly, he was Vanessa's direct supervisor. The guy drove a Tesla, lived in a fancy condo worth around $500,000, and posted those squeaky clean LinkedIn photos of his perfect family. And behind all that? He was having an affair with my wife. I could have stormed in and confronted them. I could have called his wife. I could have marched into HR with both fists clenched. But I'm not wired like that. I'm a data analyst. I don't just react, I calculate. I think in patterns, systems, outcomes. And I knew if I moved too fast, they'd tighten up, cover their tracks, and deny everything. They'd go into full defense mode. Then it becomes he said, she said, and I'd have nothing solid. So I needed leverage. And for that, I had to wait. I started documenting, tracking, logging everything. I built the case like I was putting together a boardroom presentation with facts, timelines, and proof. Then, on Monday afternoon, I got a text that made my stomach drop. Your wife is at the Hilton. Room 147. I just stared at the message, my heart beating so hard I could feel it in my throat. Someone else knew. I typed back immediately, who is this? The reply came fast. Someone who thought you should know. I tried calling the number, straight to voicemail. No greeting. Nothing. I sat there in my office with my mind spinning. Who was it? A coworker? Someone in the hotel? Another employee? Ethan's wife? Honestly, it didn't even matter. What mattered was I had something priceless now, real-time intel. Room 147. Right now. I could have jumped in my car. I could have driven down there and caught them red-handed. But I didn't. Because I'm not a man who lets emotions drive the wheel. I'm a man who executes a plan. I opened my laptop and pulled up the Hilton's website. Room 147 was listed as a junior suite, king bed, city view. Cost? $270 a night. Then I checked Vanessa's credit card statement. And there it was. Hilton, downtown Columbus, $270. Charged 3 hours ago. Meanwhile, she'd told me she was working from home today. I glanced at the clock. 3:59 p.m. Then I picked up my phone and called the best florist in Columbus. Petal and stem florist, this is Rachel. How can I help you? Hi, Rachel, I said. I need a dozen red roses delivered today. Absolutely, she said. What's the occasion? It's a surprise for my wife, I told her. She just got a promotion. Oh wow, Rachel said. That's wonderful. Where should we deliver them? The Hilton downtown, I said. Room 147. There was a pause. A hotel room, she asked carefully. Yes, I said. She's celebrating there with colleagues. I just want to surprise her. That's so sweet, Rachel said. And what would you like the card to say? I took a slow breath, keeping my voice steady. To my darling wife. Congratulations on your promotion. I'm so proud of you. Love, Ethan. The line went silent. Finally, Rachel said, I'm sorry, did you say Ethan? Yes, I said calmly. Ethan Chen. Another pause. That's her boss, I explained. He's the one who promoted her. I want him to get credit. This time the silence was longer. Then she said, Sir, just to confirm, this is for your wife? That's right. But you want the card signed by her boss? Yes, I said. Is that an issue? No, she replied quickly. I just want to be sure I have it correct. You do, I told her. Write it exactly like that. Then I added, can you deliver it in exactly 1 hour? Yes, sir, she said. We can do that. Perfect. I gave her my credit card info and ended the call. Then I leaned back in my chair and smiled. Because in exactly 1 hour, my wife was going to receive flowers in her hotel room, flowers with a card signed by the man she was cheating with. And when she saw that name, she was going to panic. I didn't leave the office. I didn't drive to the Hilton. I just waited. At 3:47 p.m., Vanessa texted me. Hey babe. How's your day going? I stared at the screen. That casual tone. Like she wasn't lying through every word. I typed back, good. Busy. How's working from home? Productive, she replied. Just finished a big presentation. Might take a break and go for a walk. A walk? Yeah. Sure. I didn't respond. Then at 4:03 p.m. my phone rang. Vanessa. I let it ring 3 times before I answered. Hey, I said, calm as ever. Derek, she said, her voice tight, strained. Where are you? At the office, I said. Why? Then she blurted out, did you send me flowers? Flowers? I repeated. No. Why would I send you flowers at home if you're working? I'm not, she stopped herself hard. I mean, yes. I'm home. But someone sent flowers. That's nice, I said lightly. Secret admirer? No, she snapped, then softened. They were delivered to It Doesn't Matter. The card is weird. Weird how? I asked. She hesitated, like she was trying to pick her words carefully. It says they're from Ethan. Ethan? I said. Your boss Ethan? Yes. I played dumb. Ha. That's strange. Maybe it's a work thing. It's not, she started. I cut in smoothly, still calm. Didn't you tell me you've been working closely with him on that big project? Yes, but, her voice faded, nervous. It's just weird. Well, I said, maybe he's just being nice. You know how corporate people are always sending gifts to keep employees motivated. Silence. Then she said quietly, Derek. I need to ask you something. Sure, I said. Her voice dropped even lower. Do you know where I am right now? I paused. Let it stretch. Long enough for her to feel it. Then I said, you told me you're working from home. Right, she said quickly. Yes. I am. Then why are you asking? I said. No reason, she rushed. Never mind. I'll see you tonight, she said. Okay, I replied. Love you. There was another hesitation, like the words were stuck in her throat. Love you too, she whispered. Then the line went dead. I set my phone down and let out a slow breath. Phase 1 was complete. And at 4:47 p.m. I got another call. This time, the call came from a number I didn't recognize. I answered anyway. Hello? A woman's voice came through the line, tight, controlled, and clearly furious. Is this Derek Matthews? Yes, I said. Who is this? This is Laura Chen, she snapped. Ethan's wife. My pulse shot up, but I forced my voice to stay calm. Oh, hi, Laura, I said evenly. Is everything all right? No, she said, breathing hard. Everything is not all right. I could hear it in her voice, she was shaking with anger. I just got a very interesting phone call from my husband. Oh yeah? I replied, as if I didn't already know what was coming. He's at the Hilton downtown, she said. And apparently someone sent flowers to his room. Flowers addressed to my darling wife and signed with his name. I gave a small, measured response. That's strange. Strange, she snapped. No, Derek. That's not strange. That's a message. Her voice sharpened like a knife. Someone knows he's there. Someone knows he's with your wife. I didn't say a word. Then she demanded it like she couldn't hold it in any longer. Did you send those flowers? She barked. Did you send those flowers? I stayed calm. Why would I do that? Because your wife is sleeping with my husband, she said bluntly. Those words hung in the air like smoke. I let the silence stretch on purpose, then answered quietly. I know. I heard her exhale like the fight drained out of her for half a second. How long have you known? She asked. 3 months, I said. Maybe longer. A pause. And you didn't tell me, she said, voice cracking with rage. I didn't know how, I told her honestly. And I didn't have real proof. Just patterns. Patterns, she repeated, confused. I'm a data analyst, I said. I notice patterns. Her behavior changed, so I started tracking. Tracking? She asked, like she couldn't believe what she was hearing. Credit card charges. GPS logs. Hotel records, I said. I documented everything. I'd been building a full case. There was another pause, and then she said it like she'd put the pieces together. You sent the flowers. Yes, I admitted. I did. Why? She asked. Because I wanted them to panic, I said. I wanted them to realize somebody knows what they're doing. I needed to see how they'd react. Laura let out a laugh, but it wasn't humor. It was bitter. Broken. You're smarter than you look, she said. Thanks, I replied. I think. Then she went quiet for a moment. What's your plan? She asked. I was honest. I don't know yet. Then I turned it back on her. What's yours? Her voice turned ice cold. I'm going to destroy him, she said flatly. I'm taking everything, our house, the kids, his reputation. And I'm making sure everyone at that company knows exactly what he did. I didn't argue. That's fair, I said. Then she asked, what about you? I sat there thinking for a second. I'm still deciding. Well, she said sharply, decide fast. Because I'm filing for divorce tomorrow. And once I do, this whole thing is going to explode. Good, I said. Let it. That night, Vanessa came home around 7:30 p.m. She looked wrecked. Her face was pale. Her eyes were jumpy. And her hands trembled as she dropped her purse by the door. I stayed seated on the couch. Hey, I said casually. How was your day? Fine, she muttered, not even looking at me. And yours? She asked. Productive, I said. Got a lot done. She nodded like her mind was somewhere else, then walked into the kitchen and poured herself a glass of wine. I watched her quietly, pretending to focus on my laptop, where I had a spreadsheet open on the screen. A few seconds later, she came back to the living room, wine in hand. What are you working on? She asked. Just some data analysis, I said. Nothing exciting. She sat on the far end of the couch, leaving a huge space between us. That distance didn't feel like inches. It felt like miles. Then she said, Derek. I need to tell you something. My heart jumped again, but I kept my expression blank. Okay, I said. She took a slow breath. I've been unhappy. Unhappy? I repeated. In our marriage, she said. For a while now. I closed my laptop and turned toward her fully. Why didn't you tell me? I asked. I don't know, she admitted. I thought it would pass, but it hasn't. My jaw tightened. So what are you saying? Her eyes got wet. I think we need to separate. There it was. Not an apology. Not a confession. Just a clean exit, like she was leaving a job, not a marriage. I nodded slowly. Okay. She blinked like she didn't expect that. Okay, she repeated. You're not going to fight me? I held her gaze. Would it change anything? She looked away. No, she whispered. Probably not. Then why fight? I said. She wiped her eyes. I'm sorry, Derek, she said. You're a good man. You deserve better. Yeah, I said quietly. I do. She moved out 3 days later. She packed her clothes, her laptop, her toiletries, everything that mattered to her. She left the furniture, the dishes, the home. She left the life we built like it didn't mean anything. She never told me where she was going. I didn't ask. Because I already knew. The GPS tracker on her car told me exactly where she went. Straight to Ethan's condo in the short north. A week later, Laura Chen filed for divorce. And it wasn't quiet. It wasn't private. It was brutal, public, and messy. She didn't just file paperwork and move on. She sent an email to the entire executive team at Ethan's company. The subject line read, "Regarding Ethan Chen's conduct." And in that email, she laid it all out. The affair. Vanessa's name. Specific dates. Hotel records. Every ugly detail. She CC'd HR, legal, and the CEO. By noon, Ethan was suspended pending investigation. By 5 p.m., he was terminated for violating the company's ethics policy. Vanessa got called into HR the next day. They didn't officially fire her, but they made it clear they wanted her gone. They encouraged her to resign. And she did. 2 weeks after that, Vanessa called me. "Derek, we need to talk." "About what?" I asked. "About everything," she said. "The separation. The house. I want to make this as easy as possible." "Okay," I said cautiously. "I'm not asking for much," she continued. "Just half the house equity and half the savings." "That's fair." "Fair," I repeated slowly. "Yes," she said. "We built this life together. We should split it equally." I stayed quiet for a beat. Then I asked her calmly, "Vanessa, do you know why I sent those flowers?" Silence. "What?" she said. "The flowers at the Hilton," I repeated. "Do you know why I sent them?" Her voice hardened instantly. "Was that you?" "Yes," I said. "Why?" she asked sharply. "Because I wanted you to know I knew," I said. "I wanted you to panic. I wanted to see if you'd finally come clean." "Derek." "You didn't," I cut in. "You lied. You came home and lied to my face. You asked for a separation," I said, "and you did it without ever admitting what you actually did." Vanessa tried to jump in. "I was going to tell you. I didn't let her off that easy." "When?" I asked. "After you moved in with Ethan? After you secured your exit plan?" She didn't answer. Not a word. So I kept going, voice steady. "I have everything, Vanessa. GPS logs. Credit card statements. Hotel records. Text messages. I've been documenting this for 3 months." Her tone flipped instantly, like she was the victim. "You've been spying on me?" I shook my head, even though she couldn't see it. "No," I said. "I've been protecting myself." "From what?" I didn't even hesitate. "From this," I said. "From you trying to take half of everything when you're the one who blew up our marriage." Her voice started trembling. "Ohio is a no-fault state." "I know," I said calmly. "And no fault might mean the court doesn't care who cheated, but it does matter for alimony. And it matters for public opinion." She went quiet again. So I pushed the point all the way through. "Do you really want me to file a fault-based divorce citing adultery?" I asked. "Do you want all of this to become public record?" Silence. Then I said, slow and controlled, like I was laying out terms in a business negotiation. "Here's what's going to happen. You're going to take your car, your clothes, and your personal items. I keep the house. We split the savings 50-50. No alimony. No support. Clean break." "That's not fair," she whispered. "Fair?" I actually laughed. "You want to talk about fair?" I leaned forward in my chair, voice tightening. You had an affair with your married boss. You used our joint credit card to pay for hotel rooms. You lied to me for months. And now you want to use the word fair? Derek, please. No, I said firmly. You're going to sign the papers, Vanessa. Then I lowered my voice. Because if you don't, I'll make sure everybody knows exactly what you did. Your family. Your friends. Your next employer. She tried one last move, pure bluff. You wouldn't. I said 2 words. Try me. And that was it. She signed. The divorce was finalized 60 days later. I kept the house. We split the savings. No alimony. No support. Just like I said. Vanessa moved in with Ethan. And by then, his life was falling apart too. He was unemployed, going through a brutal divorce, and on top of everything else, his ex-wife filed a lawsuit against him for dissipation of marital assets. Turns out Ethan had been using joint funds to pay for those hotel rooms, too. Laura took him for everything. Honestly? He earned every bit of it. 6 months later, I was sitting in my home office, the one that used to be our office, when something unexpected happened. I got an email. It came from the same unknown contact who'd texted me that day. The email said, I hope the flowers worked out. A friend. I stared at the screen for a long moment, just letting it sink in. Then I typed back. They did. Thank you. Who are you? An hour later, a reply came in. Someone who's been where you are. Someone who believes good people deserve to know the truth. Stay strong. Al, I never did find out who that person was. But whoever they were, they gave me the push I needed. They gave me the proof I could act on. And most importantly, they gave me the chance to take control of my own story. A year later, I'm still living in the house in Clintonville. And things changed fast. I got promoted at work. Senior data analyst. $90,000 salary. For the first time in a long time, I felt like I could breathe again. I also started dating again, slowly. Carefully. Like a man who learned a hard lesson and didn't want to repeat it. Her name is Rachel. She's a teacher. She's kind. Honest. Real. And weirdly enough, she thinks my spreadsheets are adorable. We met at a coffee shop. She didn't know my story. She didn't know what I'd been through. She just liked me. And honestly, that was enough. I still think about that text sometimes. Your wife is at the Hilton, room 147. 8 words that changed my entire life. I could have ignored it. I could have convinced myself it was wrong. I could have pretended I didn't see it. But I didn't. I acted. Not with rage. Not with violence. With strategy. I sent flowers with a card that said everything I needed to say, without saying a single word. And I watched their entire world start unraveling. People ask me sometimes if I regret it. If I wish I'd handled it differently. And the answer is simple. No. Because here's what I learned. When someone betrays you, you've got 2 options. You can let them control the narrative, let them lie, manipulate you, and walk away with half of everything you built. Or you can take control. You gather evidence. You build your case. You execute a plan. You send flowers with a card that quietly says, I know. And you watch them panic. Vanessa and Ethan didn't last. They broke up about 7 months after my divorce was finalized. Turns out relationships built on lies don't survive once the lies are exposed. She moved to Cleveland, got a job at a smaller company, and started over. I heard through mutual friends that she's doing okay. And I hope she is. Not because I forgive her. But because I don't think about her anymore. She's a chapter in my life that's closed. And I'm writing new ones now. And if you've ever gotten a message that changed everything. If you've ever had to choose between confrontation and strategy. If you've ever sent flowers with a card that said more than words ever could. Comment I know and hit subscribe. Because sometimes the best revenge isn't loud. It's a dozen red roses. And a card with the wrong name.